What's up, YouTube? It's your boy TPG back at it again with another deck profile. Today we're going to be covering blue-white aerial rebuild. This is different than the regular blue-white blockers decks because the way it plays is just getting value out of command cards. And I think command cards are some of the best cards that are being underutilized right now. That being said, let's hop right into the deck profile. All right, so here we are with my blue-white aerial rebuild deck profile. A little bit about the deck before we hop into it. I think it has a lot of potential and there's a lot of ratios that can be adjusted. So this right now is just my base ratios. There's a couple things that I think are pretty perfect. And then there's a lot that I think can be adjusted and tailored to either the player or the meta game just because of the way this deck plays. This deck value is the name of the game, and getting value out of your command cards is what this deck wants to do. So if there's any new command cards that come out in the future, this deck only gets better. That being said, let's hop right into the profile, okay? So to start off with, our low to the ground, we have our Zawart. This is our level 2 cost 3/2. You're probably familiar with this blocker right now. It's a staple in the game. It's really good stats. It just can't attack players, which is pretty nice because it has just such good stats. Next to our level 3s, we play 3 copies of Gundam Lifrith. This is just another really nice statted white blocker. Another card, this is going to be a staple you're going to see in almost every single white deck. These two are a package that are going to be together quite often. Then we play 4 copies of our level 4 Gundam RX-78. This is the starter deck RX-78. It has repair 2, and then during your turn, all your units gain +1 AP. So it's just a board buff as well as having repair to allow it to make really strong trades. And then additionally, it does link with Amuro Ray, which is one of the best pilots in the current game. That being said, we'll talk about Amuro later. Level 5s, we played 2 copies of Perfect Strike Gundam. This is a blocker that's a level 5 3 cost 4/4, and on deploy it bounces an enemy unit with 1 HP or less back to their hand. And it links with any Earth Alliance trait, which is important. We'll talk about that a little later. But I think this card's like okay. I think it's like a worse Ale Strike, but in some scenarios, like the cost matters, as well as just being an on deploy instead of a during pair that can also come up. 4 copies of Ale Strike, which is another incredible card. This is the starter deck Ale Strike. It's level 5, 4 cost, 4/4. Links with Kira Yamato, has a blocker, and then when paired with a level 4 or higher pilot, choose one enemy unit with 4 less HP, bounce it to the owner's hand, which is very, very good. Onto the main star of the deck. This is what really made me want to play this deck, and a card that I think is just very undervalued right now, and it's a card that in set 1 I think will just get better as time goes on. This is the level 6, 5 cost, 5/4 Gundam Aerial Rebuild. It links with Soletta Mercury, and it has when paired, choose one command card that is level 5 or lower from your trash and add it to your hand. So just when paired with anything, you get to bounce that command card back. And then if you do pair with Soletta, it's a link so you can attack. And then the current Soletta we have in the game does allow you to untap 1 resource when you attack, meaning that if you bounce back a 1 cost command card, you can still use that even if you only have 6 resources, which is very strong. Finally, we top it off with the main level, the main top end for almost all white decks right now. This is Freedom Gundam. It's just really strong. It links with Kira Yamato. It's a 4/6 that has blocker. And then during pair, once per turn, when you pair a pilot with this unit or one of your white units, choose one enemy unit. It gets -2 AP during this turn. So when this is paired or any of your white units are paired with any color of pilot, you do get that -2, which is just so powerful, just reducing the power of blockers or reducing the power of things you want to swing into. With like, let's say RX-78, you can make just very powerful trades there. We've already talked about this deck being a value deck, and that's what it's going to do. It's just going to trade for value with your entire board, whether that's through blocking or attacking, and then having bounceable command cards that you get to reuse, just very powerful effects throughout the game. It's just so nice, and it's just definitely my favorite playstyle of deck. If you have ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, I'd compare this deck to a deck like Sky Striker, where you just have so many tools at your disposal that it's very hard for your opponent to win the game just because they have to cover for so many options that you could potentially have, and you can have any option for any scenario, which is very nice. Onto our pilots. This is the only thing that I think is pretty mandatory in the deck, is I think 4 of all of the links are really good because all of these links aren't specified to a during link. they are specified to just when paired or when attacking. So, and they all burst add to hand. So Kira gives +2/+1, and then on attack, choose an enemy unit, gets -2 AP. Again, very strong trades. Soletta is +1/+2. Choose one of your resources, set it as active once per turn when you attack. If you have multiple Solettas, you can set multiple resources active. Very, very nice. And then Amuro has when paired, choose a unit with 5 or less HP and set it as rested, which is just, again, very strong. And these are all very powerful stat lines, and they're all burst cards. So I think these pilots are just so important to play. And then you also do need quite a bit of pilots to proc your Freedom Gundam as much as possible. And again, the color of the pilot doesn't matter, only the color of the unit, which is very good. We do now onto the commands. So I do play one more pilot that is an Earth Alliance, and that is sort of why I mentioned that Perfect Strike can pair with it. One copy of Mula Flag or Hawk of Endymion. This is a level 2 1-cost command card that's very strong in the early game against aggro decks. It has main or action, choose one enemy unit with 3 or less HP and return it to the owner's hand, and it gives +1/+0 as a pilot. You don't necessarily want to pilot with this, however, it is a pilot that you can bounce back off of Gundam Aerial Rebuild and have a link for game with Perfect Strike, which is very, very cool. That is a very nice interaction. In a sense, it's sort of like a Char's Gelgoog with extra steps, but you don't have to discard for those, which is just very, very cool. And then again, the main thing is early game, you're going to drop this to remove an attack. Late game, this card's not really going to do anything. And in the mirror match, this card's also not really going to do anything because nothing's ever going to have less than 3 HP. And if it does in this mirror match, you're never going to want to bounce it back because you don't want to give your opponent that extra resources. But in the mirror match, you can use it to bounce a blocker early, and then late game, grab it back for a link with Perfect Strike, which is very cool. Next, 2 copies of Unforeseen Incident. Initially, this was 3 Unforeseen Incident, but I did like that interaction with Mula Flag. This is a level 3 1-cost that has main burst, activate its main effect, and then also main or action, choose one enemy unit, gets -3 AP during this turn. So this stops even if they unrest or get set to active, they still have that -3. But this allows you to make, again, really strong trades when you block, as well as when they attack, which is just very cool. Then we play 4 copies of probably the best command card in the game, Overflowing Affection. It's a level 2 1-cost, draw 2, pitch 1. Really, really strong. I don't think I need to cover this that much. 2 copies of Show of Resolve. I know a lot of blue-white is playing 3 of these and 4 of these. I think that's too many, especially on turn 4. You really want to be playing down either a Zawart and a Lifrith, or some combination of units, or just Overflowing Affection, right? But I think this card is still not bad just for more draw power. So we do play 2 copies, and it is a card that you can recur with Rebuild if you need to. That's it for the commands. You can play a lot heavier of a package, or you can play a lot more one-ofs than I do. I've seen a lot of decks that play like 1 to 2 burst, a striker pack, which is really cool. But there's a lot you can do. Lastly, we play 4 copies of Archangel. This is the base that just active main once per turn, you get a pay 2. Choose one friendly unit with blocker, set it as active, but it can't attack during this turn. So you can, but what's cool is you can swing with it, set it as active, and then now you can block with it next turn. It's which allows offensive pressure to blockers, which this card really brings the deck together. But I do think you could probably get away with 3 copies of this, or maybe put in Strike Rouge, which is the unit version of this. So definitely look into that as well. But this is, again, just my build. This is what feels comfortable with me. I said this deck has a lot of flex room. I think the only thing that I think that is pretty mandatory is the 12 main pilots. You might be able to get away with 10 if you run less copies of Freedom, but I personally wouldn't run less than 3 copies of Freedom in this deck. If you have any questions about it, though, definitely leave them down in the comments down below. I would love to talk about this deck. So I can answer your questions, or we can talk about theory crafting for builds. So yeah, I love this deck. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see more from me, I have links in the description down below to my Twitter, as well as my Twitch, and my other YouTube channel where I post content about Pokemon VGC. So if you want to see more about that, go check those links out. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Comment down below. Let me know which deck you are enjoying the most from set 1. And if you think there's anything else I might be missing, that's sleeper potential. That being said, I'll see you later. Bye.